Hello, I'm Greta. I'm an art student, which means I am not qualified to give you professional advice. I am, however, qualified to give you amateur advice, and that's what I'm going to do today. These are just some personal rules that I've kind of found myself consistently abiding by over the years as an artist. So, this is Art Hacks for Dummies by Dummy. My first rule is exaggeration, and this is something I've ripped off from the principles of animation. So if you look at animation, exaggeration will sometimes be applied to exaggerate a movement or an action for dramatic effect. But this can apply also to still images, especially when you're drawing a character. Using a bit of exaggeration can make an image look that much more dynamic. So let's take this simple character here. Okay, the pose makes sense, it's proportionate, I guess, but it's kind of boring, And you can use exaggeration to create these weird angles. Maybe the spine is bending in a way that humans in real life wouldn't usually bend. You can see that there's more weight on one side of the character's body. He looks more like slouched, like he doesn't really want to be there, and you can get a better feel for his character. Same with this character. I want to have this expression of excitement on his face, and I really want to elongate his expression, but this kind of looks a bit boring. So I can make his face even longer and more curved, as if he's caught in the middle of a movement. It's less realistic in terms of human proportion, but it's so much more expressive. My second rule, and this mainly applies to character design, is to take reference from the people around you. If you're trying to create characters which are meant to look realistic, like regular human beings, the majority of the human characters that I've designed are just fully based on people that I've seen on the bus, at supermarkets, at the airport, just walking in my neighborhood. Because people are so interesting and complex. Sometimes reality is just more interesting than fiction, and it's really good to just reference real life. My third rule is something I'm going to call drawing with melody, in the sense that I like looking at a drawing that I've made. I like that I can break it down to kind of basic shapes. I like when the layout makes sense, even from a design standpoint. I like when it's even, not necessarily like a character evenly split down the middle of the canvas, but if there's a character on one side, there isn't just a bunch of empty space that makes no sense. I like artwork that I can almost hear, that I can see how it would hypothetically move if it were a moving image rather than a still one. And I think that is much easier to achieve if you're making intentional decisions. My fourth rule is speedrun, don't rush. So when you speedrun a game, yeah, sure, it's impressive to finish it as fast as possible, but you know what's even more impressive? Finishing it in a short time and getting all of the collectibles and everything. And it's kind of the same with art. I have trained myself to be as efficient as possible when I'm drawing something without compromising the quality of the final product. There was a period of time where I was trying to upload a drawing every day on social media for the algorithm. But then I would look at it in the end and I'd be like, damn, I hate this. If I spent more time on this and I polished it, I would have liked it so much more. The thing is, when you rush, you're not really learning anything because your only focus is replicating the thing that you know how to do again, and you're not really improving. What is useful is learning techniques maybe about the software you're using, or in traditional art, maybe if you mix certain paints together with water, it's smoother and it dries quicker. Things that I used to do to make sure I finished on time during my art exams. But in the end, the most important thing is that I'm satisfied with the final piece. My final fifth rule, which is a bit of a hot take, ignore tutorials. Do not watch art tutorials, especially if you are a beginner artist, because in my experience, it's usually artists teaching you how to replicate their style. It's very limited, and they kind of have a lot of these rules that don't really apply to real life. This is an example of something I saw on Instagram not too long ago. This is how to draw a man. This is how to draw a woman. It's these kind of binary things that don't really make sense. It's not accounting for people of all different shapes and sizes, even facial expressions. It really has to do with the person's style. You're much better off studying from life and learning the rules of realism and then breaking them along the way, instead of looking up on YouTube. I remember that kid in primary school who would be like, I know how to draw a dog. And it's because they watched one tutorial 50 times and they don't know how to draw it any other way other than the video that they saw. Don't be like that.